Greetings and welcome to another midweek boost. Today we're going to talk about the healing power of faith. Our text comes from Mark's Gospel, chapter 4, verses 25 through 28. And it tells us that a large crowd followed and pressed around him. And a woman was there who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors, and she had spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Thus ends this reading. You know, the story of Jesus is the story of interruptions. There are people who interrupt our lives. And if we are not of compassionate character, we might dismiss them. But if we have the heart of Christ, an interruption is an opportunity to minister with love and tenderness. In our text, there was a woman. We don't know her name or her background. We only know one thing about her, and that is that she had some kind of internal hemorrhage. And that issue of blood had continued for 12 years. This troublesome disease had been annoying to her, obviously, and probably exhausting as well. Exhausting her not only physically, but emotionally. She had spent her entire estate on doctors and various cures. Some of you know her desperation, don't you? Some of us would give anything we had if we knew that there was a cure for arthritis or cancer or diabetes or some other dread or painful disease. This woman had spent all she had going to doctors. But instead of being helped in those primitive days of medicine, she was injured. And now she was reduced from comfort to poverty. And she was afflicted with what seemed to be an incurable disease. But she had not lost hope. Hearing of the wonderful things that Jesus was doing, she thought to herself, maybe here's the answer I've been looking for. She thought to herself that maybe there was something magical about Jesus. So she said, if I but touch the hem of his garment, then maybe I could be healed. Now, we're given to understand that the Jews of that day wore a blue hem, a blue fringe on their garments as a badge of their piety. Perhaps this woman thought that the combination of the power of Jesus' person and the piety of the blue fringe of the devoted Jew would bring about a magical cure. And so, while the crowd thronged about Jesus, she quietly mingled with them. And at a moment when she thought she was not perceived, she came up from behind him and touched the hem of his garment, and instantly felt a thrill and knew that she was healed of her ailment. The scriptures tell us that Jesus instantly knew what had been done. He knew that the woman had touched the hem of his garment in order to find healing. It may be that he intended not only to confirm her faith, but also to correct in her mind the thought that there was something magical about his garment. So he turns to the crowd and asks, "Who touched my clothes?" They all denied. Peter, always impetuous and sometimes impatient even with the master, said, "You see this throng of people, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" But he assured them that someone had touched him with a purpose, and he knew that that purpose had been accomplished. He evidently did not ask the question for his own information, but rather to draw the woman into open confession. He desired to put himself right before her mind and to leave her with a blessing that would surpass the healing of her physical body. He was determined to let her know that it was not mere magic that had healed her, but that her healing had come in response to her faith. When the woman saw that she could not be hid, she came forward with confusion and trembling and fell down before him and told before all the people the truth of why she had touched him and how she had been immediately healed. This was all that Jesus had desired. So now he says to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." You see, it was not magic, but it was faith that healed her. And my friends, there's healing power that is available to you and me if we but believe. Believe in his willingness to right the wrongs in our lives, to heal the hurts, to put the stars back into our sky. The picture we have from this story is of suffering humanity reaching out to touch the hem of the garment of God. But that's not the true New Testament picture of humankind's relationship to God. The true New Testament picture is of a God who reaches out to humankind long before humanity searches for God. It's God's earnest plea that we shall be healed. But let's be clear, God does not always heal all of our physical afflictions and illnesses. Jesus didn't heal everyone in his day. But there is healing power in understanding God's willingness to help us put things right again in our lives, to comfort and strengthen us in our hurts, and to give us hope in our afflictions. Christina Rossetti's poem, Despised and Rejected, tells of a bitter man who made fast his door. He heard one calling in the night, "Friend, open to me." The man refused the urgent calling, which died away, and departing footsteps echoed like a sigh. The next morning there was blood-stained footprints on the grass and blood on his door forevermore. That's the New Testament picture of Jesus Christ seeking the soul of man. Charles B. Templeton once wrote, "When they catch a glimpse of God in the experiences of everyday life, to those who have eyes to see, God is in every vista. To those who are tuned in, they can hear his still small voice, his whispers in every sound. God is found not only in the church or at the communion table or at some holy place. In Bible times, men and women were seeking to find him in unexpected places. Those wise men found him in a stable. Simeon found him in the temple. The thief found him on a cross. His contemporaries never knew for sure just where they would come upon him. And so it is today. God knocks at the door of our lives in 1,000 ways, and never twice the same. There is healing power in understanding his willingness to reach out to you and to me this day, seeking to heal the hurts of our lives. It would not be difficult to persuade you that there are destructive powers within us. You know that if anxiety gnaws at your stomach too long, you'll develop an ulcer. You know that if stress is put upon you for too long, it can drive up your blood pressure and perhaps cause a stroke or a heart attack. You and I know the destructive power of negative forces within us. But does it not make sense that there are resources for healing within us that our faith in God can make available to us? Carl Jung, that very influential psychiatrist of the last century, once put it like this: "I could not say I believe. I know I've had the experience of being gripped by something that is stronger than myself, something that people call God. God has the willingness, and He has the resources. This poor lady with her issue of blood saw that somehow in Jesus. And though she may have misunderstood the principle by which it works, and who among us can understand how the forces of God are unleashed, she still knew that something within the person of Jesus, something in there was healing, and she reached out and touched the hem of His garment, and she discovered there His willingness and His resources, and so may we. God is willing to heal the hurts of your life. He has placed resources within you that only faith can unlock. So if you will but reach out today, not to touch the hem of His garment, but to put your hand in the hand that is already outstretched toward you, then you can find healing for your heart and your mind and your soul, and have the joy that our Creator intended. I want to close with a song today that says, reach out to Jesus. He's reaching out to you. Is your burden heavy as you bear it all alone? Does the road you travel harbor dangers yet unknown? Are you growing weary in the struggle of it all? Jesus will help you when on His name you call. He is always there, hearing every prayer, faithful and true. Walking by our side, in His love we hide all the day through. When you get discouraged, just remember what to do. Reach out to Jesus, He's reaching out to you. Is the life you're living filled with sorrow and despair? Does the future press you with its worry and its care? Are you tired and friendless? Have you almost lost your way? Jesus will help you. Just come to Him today. He's always there, hearing every prayer, faithful and true. Walking by our side, in His love we hide all the day through. When you get discouraged, just remember what to do. Reach out to Jesus, come on and reach out to Jesus. I said to reach out to Jesus, He's reaching out to you. I hope you'll join me next week. Until then, may God's blessings of grace, peace, love, and joy be upon you today and for all the days to come. Amen.